3001, The Final Odyssey. Space Odyssey, #4 by Arthur C. Clarke. Revival and reorientation. Frank Poole awakened to a world 1,000 years removed from his own. His eyes, heavy with the weight of prolonged cryosleep, beheld a luxurious suite that seemed more fantasy than reality. The ceiling, adorned with intricate patterns of light, danced with vibrant hues, casting an ethereal glow upon the room. "Welcome back, Frank. I'm Dr. Indra Wallace. You've been asleep for a millennium," her gentle voice soothed, offering an anchor in this unfamiliar realm. As Poole struggled to orient himself, his gaze fell upon the walls, alive with ever-shifting imagery. Ancient masterpieces seamlessly blended with futuristic landscapes, each scene a testament to the passage of time and the boundless reach of human creativity. It was as if the entire history of art was on display, each painting seamlessly transitioning into the next, creating a living, breathing gallery. "What year is it?" His voice, rough from disuse, betrayed his bewilderment. 4001, Frank. You've slept through centuries, Dr. Wallace replied, her warm smile belying the vast chasm of time that separated them. Poole's mind reeled. 1,000 years? He felt like a primitive confronted with the wonders of a future civilization. Dr. Wallace patiently guided him through this strange new world, introducing him to devices that responded to her every command. The suite, a sanctuary of advanced technology, overwhelmed Poole with its myriad functions. He pointed to a sleek wristband. "What's this?" "Your ident, Frank. Your key to existence in this era. It grants you access to services, verifies your identity, and connects you to our global network. Without it, you'd be invisible, unable to participate in our society," Dr. Wallace explained, emphasizing the critical role of this unassuming device. The implications sank in, and Poole's expression turned pensive. "So, without it, I wouldn't exist." Dr. Wallace nodded, her eyes holding a mixture of sympathy and understanding. "In a manner of speaking, yes. You'd be a non-person, invisible to our systems and the world at large." As the day progressed, Poole found himself immersed in a torrent of new experiences. The language of this future world was a labyrinth with altered grammar and pronunciation, and a vast scientific and technological lexicon that left him floundering. He felt diminished, like a child struggling to keep pace with adults. Despite his struggles, Dr. Wallace remained steadfast, patiently answering his queries and offering insights into the intricacies of this fourth millennium. Yet, Poole couldn't shake the sense of isolation, of being a relic from a forgotten age. As the sun dipped below the horizon, marking the end of his first day in this new world, Poole felt the weight of his displacement. He yearned for camaraderie, for connections untainted by the curiosity his past evoked. Sensing his fatigue, Dr. Wallace suggested a respite. "Why not embark on a holiday, Frank? We can arrange a trip to one of our lunar or Martian colonies. A change of scenery might do you good." Poole hesitated, torn between the safety of his suite and the allure of exploration. Yet, the prospect of escape, of breaking free from the confines of his newfound surroundings, proved irresistible. "Yes," he whispered, his voice laced with anticipation and a hint of trepidation. "I believe I'm ready." The following morning, Poole awoke with a newfound sense of determination. He was resolved to embrace this future, no matter how daunting it seemed. And as always, Dr. Wallace was there to guide him through the maze of this new existence. She handed him a sleek, futuristic device. "Today, we try something different. This is the brain cap. It will accelerate your language acquisition." Poole's eyes widened, his apprehension evident. "Will it change who I am?" Dr. Wallace's soft laughter eased his concerns. "No, Frank. It merely facilitates the learning process. Think of it as a shortcut to understanding our world. With a hesitant breath, Poole placed the brain cap over his head. Instantly, a torrent of knowledge flooded his mind. Words, phrases, and images intertwined, forming a complex web of understanding. It was exhilarating and overwhelming, like drinking from a fire hose of information. As the days unfolded, Poole found himself growing accustomed to the language and customs of this new millennium. He savored the pleasures of this futuristic world, from the exquisite taste of perfectly synthesized cuisine, a symphony of flavors crafted to satisfy the most discerning palate, to the adrenaline-pumping thrills of virtual reality adventure. However, it was the aviary that truly captured his heart. Under the tutelage of Professor Anderson, Poole discovered the sheer joy of flight in a low-gravity environment. The sensation of soaring through the air, unburdened by the constraints of Earth's gravity, filled him with a sense of freedom and wonder. As he glided through the spacious chamber, his body weightless, Poole felt as though he had shed the shackles of time and space. The past and future blurred, and for a fleeting moment he existed outside the confines of history, a timeless explorer in a boundless universe. The aviary, a marvel of engineering and biology, was a sanctuary where the birds of Earth mingled with exotic species from across the galaxy. Here, in this dome of glass and light, Frank Poole found solace. The birds, unjudging and free, soared alongside him, their songs a chorus that spoke of life's resilience. Dr. Wallace watched from the sidelines, her expression a mix of professional satisfaction and personal curiosity. She had seen many reborn individuals struggle with their transition. But Poole was different. His determination, his willingness to embrace the unknown, intrigued her. As Poole descended from his flight, his feet touching the soft, mossy ground, he turned to Dr. Wallace with a newfound clarity in his eyes. "I want to learn, not just survive," he declared. "I want to contribute to this world, to be more than a relic of the past." Dr. Wallace's smile widened. "Then we have much to do, Frank. And I believe you have much to offer." Together they set out to chart a course for Poole's future. A journey that would take him beyond the confines of the aviary, beyond the safety of his suite, and into the heart of this new civilization. For Frank Poole, the adventure was just beginning. Flight and familiarity. Flight and familiarity. Frank Poole's excitement was palpable as he activated the flying apparatus, a bat-like machine with a flexible membrane that fluttered as he moved. "Okay, Frank. Let's try some maneuvers." Professor Anderson's voice came through the comms, reminding him of the unique challenges of low-gravity movement. Poole nodded, his heart racing with anticipation. He had always been drawn to the sky, and now he was about to dance among the stars. With a flick of his wrist, Poole propelled himself forward, the aviary's simulated scenery enveloping him in a breathtaking panorama of Meteor Crater. Memories of his astronaut training flooded back as he maneuvered through the air, the whitely gleaming domes of the Lowell Observatory emerging before him, a cherished remnant of his boyhood dreams. As he executed a series of rolls and loops, the scenery shifted seamlessly, transporting him from the familiar landscapes of Earth to the majestic snow-capped mountains, and into the cosmic ballet of a night sky adorned with stars and galaxies. The performance of Swan Lake by winged humans unfolded around him, a fusion of human grace and celestial beauty. The experience was overwhelming, igniting a sense of wonder and awe within him. It was a stark contrast to the gravity-bound existence he had known, and it challenged his perception of reality. The simulated night sky transitioned into a dawn, casting a warm glow over an alien landscape that stretched below him. Here in the aviary, Frank Poole was not just learning to fly, he was learning to let go of the familiar and embrace the unknown. As he touched down, the exhilaration of flight lingered, a promise of the new life that awaited him among the stars. Romance and revelation. Frank Poole's life was a blend of awe and uncertainty. The advanced technology of the fourth millennium had revived him from a 1,000-year cryosleep. But he struggled to find his place in this new world. That was until he met Aurora Macaulay. Their encounter was unexpected, adding a spark of excitement to Poole's journey. They shared a connection that seemed to transcend time, and soon they found themselves exploring the rich history of Earth together. As they visited Oxford, Aurora showed him the pub where literary legends once gathered. "I never thought I'd see this place," Poole said, his eyes reflecting his amazement. "It's amazing, isn't it?" Aurora replied, her smile as enlightening as the knowledge she shared. Poole was captivated by her passion for history and literature, and their conversations were filled with insights and discoveries. One evening, as they sat by the river, Aurora turned to Poole with a serious expression. "Frank, there's something you should know," she said. "It's about the mission." Poole leaned in, eager to learn more. Aurora spoke of Dave Bowman and the monoliths, hinting at mysteries yet to be unraveled. Poole's curiosity was piqued, and he knew this was just the beginning of a new chapter in his life. With Aurora's guidance, he was ready to embark on a journey of discovery and understanding. Together, they would delve into the enigmas of the past and the possibilities of the future, seeking answers to the questions that had long eluded humanity. As they gazed at the stars reflecting on the river's surface, Poole realized that with Aurora, every moment was an opportunity for revelation and growth. The journey ahead was uncertain, but he was no longer alone. With a companion like Aurora, the universe seemed filled with endless potential. Odyssey to Jupiter. Frank Poole stood before the towering spaceship Goliath, its sleek design gleaming under the artificial lights of the Rim shipyard. Captain Chandler, sporting his unusual goatee, greeted Frank with a warm handshake. "Welcome aboard, Frank. She's an old rust bucket, but she's got heart," he said, patting the ship's metallic hull affectionately. The crew, 4 men and 3 women, were a mix of seasoned astronauts and bright-eyed scientists, each with a nickname that told a story. Bolts was the engineer, always tightening screws. Chips handled the tech. First was the first officer. Life was the biologist. Props managed the propulsion systems, and Stars was the astronomer. As Goliath lifted off silently, Frank felt a pang of nostalgia mixed with excitement. The inertial field kicked in, and he felt the familiar Mars-G weight settle over him. "So, Frank, ready for the stories?" asked Chips, grinning. Over the next 10 days, Frank bonded with the crew through their tales. They shared stories of the Golden Asteroid and the Mercurian plasmoids, each more fantastical than the last. Frank listened, laughed, and even shared some of his own memories from 1,000 years past. One night, as they neared Venus, the conversation turned to the vastness of the universe and the mysteries it held. The conversation shifted as Frank steered it towards his own mission, a personal odyssey that had brought him back to the Jovian system. "I'm here to tie up loose ends," he explained. "There are answers on Ganymede that I've been seeking for a lifetime." As Goliath made its final approach to Ganymede City, Frank's gaze was drawn to the sprawling metropolis below. The city's wide avenues, designed for beings of a scale beyond human, stretched out like the fingers of a giant hand. The broad river that bisected the city shimmered under the light of Jupiter's reflection, while the thin atmosphere lent a crystal clarity to the view of the stars above. The crew's preparations were meticulous as they docked at the city's port. Frank could see the signs of a settlement in flux. The melting permafrost had begun to reshape the landscape, with the edge of Lake Gilgamesh creeping into view. The electrolysis plant's towers loomed in the distance, a testament to the city's struggle to maintain its oxygen supply. Stepping off the Goliath, Frank felt the weight of history upon him. He was a man out of time, seeking closure in a world that was both familiar and alien. His next step was clear: to meet with Dave on Europa, where the past and future would converge. But for now, he took a moment too. Great Wall and Ganymede. Frank Poole stood before the Great Wall monolith on Europa, its enormity stretching beyond sight. The monolith's smooth, dark surface reflecting nothing, contrasted sharply with the lively Ganymede city. He reached out, expecting his fingers to sink into the material, but they met an impenetrable barrier as if the monolith existed just out of touch with his reality. 20 kilometers long, he murmured, recalling the data. Proportions of 1:49. It's almost poetic, isn't it? Dr. Khan, accompanying him, nodded. It's more than numbers, Frank. It's a message, a key to understanding. They walked along the base of the Great Wall, their silence filled with unspoken questions. Poole's thoughts drifted to his past, to the memories of his dog bounding across the park, his brother's laughter echoing. He blinked away tears, focusing on the present. Indifferent, he said, touching the monolith again. It's indifferent to us, to our existence. Perhaps, Dr. Khan replied, but we are not indifferent to it. It challenges us, makes us question our place in the universe. The conversation shifted to the aquatic life on Europa, the bizarre creatures thriving in the warmth of underwater volcanoes. Poole's mind raced with the implications of such life existing in the cold depths of space. It's a testament of life's tenacity, Poole continued, his gaze lost in the depths of the monolith. Life finds a way, even in the harshest of environments. Dr. Khan smiled. Indeed, Frank. And it's not just about survival. It's about the diversity of life and what it tells us about our own origins. They discussed the creatures of Europa, imagining the unseen civilizations that might exist in its abyss, evolving in isolation. Poole felt a kinship with these alien forms of life, a shared bond of existence in the vast cosmos. As they left the monolith behind, Poole looked back one last time. We're all just travelers, he said, seeking our place in this grand universe. The Great Wall stood silent, a sentinel for the ages, as they made their way back to Ganymede City, where new adventures awaited. Contact from beyond. Frank Poole sat in the dimly lit room of his quarters aboard the Goliath, staring at the screen that had just flickered to life. The face that appeared was both familiar and alien, a digital echo of a man he once knew. Frank, it's Dave, the image spoke, its voice carrying a weight that seemed to press against the walls of the spacecraft. Poole's heart skipped a beat. Dave? How is this possible? I'm part of the monolith now, Frank. It's hard to explain, but I'm here to warn you. The monolith, it's experiencing system failures and malfunctions. A decline in its capabilities. It needs a service check, a form of maintenance or reprogramming to ensure it continues to function as intended. Failing? But it's been around for eons. Yes, but it's made a mistake with humanity. It's misjudged us, Frank. You need to help fix this. The monolith's automatic processes have led to errors, and it's time for a manual correction. Poole's mind raced. The monolith, the enigmatic structure that had been a silent observer of humanity's evolution, was now reaching out through the visage of his old friend. What do you mean, Dave? What kind of service check? The monolith has learned, adapted, but it's become inefficient. It's misjudged us, Frank. You need to help fix this. Sometimes the smallest action can set things right. It's about the little things, the small acts of kindness and understanding. That's what the monolith doesn't get about us. It's not just about survival and evolution. Poole nodded, a mix of determination and nostalgia washing over him. I understand, Dave. I'll do what I can. But where do I start? Start by using a Trojan horse strategy. We can use the weapons stored in the vault, assembled in a specific way to exploit the monolith's vulnerabilities. It won't see it coming. It's expecting grand gestures, not subtlety. Poole stood up, his resolve hardening. All right, I'll gather the team. We'll come up with a plan. Good luck, Frank. And remember, I'm always here if you need me. The screen went blank, leaving Poole alone with his thoughts. He knew the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but for the first time since his revival, he felt a sense of purpose that transcended his own existence. It was time to save the monolith, to save humanity, and perhaps in doing so, save himself. Operation Damocles. Frank Poole stood in the dimly lit control room, the soft glow of holographic displays illuminating his intense expression. Chairperson O'Connor was at his side, her face a mask of determination. The control room buzzed with activity as specialists monitored the intricate weapon system they had assembled. "Frank, it's time," O'Connor said, her voice steady but carrying the weight of their endeavor. "This is our moment." Poole nodded, his thoughts turning to Captain Chandler and the void his absence had left. Chandler's unique role in Poole's life and their shared adventures had been abruptly ended by a comet explosion, an event that had shocked the entire solar community. A technician, Hallman, stepped forward, his fingers a blur over the console. "The Trojan horse is set. The Pico Vault, a secure facility on the moon, houses deadly biological and chemical agents, and its contents are now primed for our purpose." Poole leaned in, his eyes scanning the data. "And the monolith? Any changes in its status?" "None," Hallman replied. "It continues to transmit messages, awaiting further action." O'Connor joined them, her gaze fixed on the monolith's representation. "Initiate Operation Damocles." The room fell silent as Hallman began the sequence. Malicious programs, crafted by skilled individuals driven by power and chaos, surged through the network. These digital demons, as they were known, moved stealthily toward their target. Poole watched with a mix of anticipation and unease. "What will be the outcome when they reach the monolith?" he asked quietly. "Uncertain," O'Connor admitted. "But we must take this chance." The team held their breath as the screens flickered. A message appeared, its origin undeniable. The monolith. It was not a threat, but a request for dialogue, an invitation to understand the unknown. "We need to talk," it read. "There is much you have yet to comprehend." In that moment, Poole realized that Operation Damocles was not an ending, but a gateway to new possibilities. It was an opportunity for humanity to confront its fears and embrace a future filled with endless potential. The chapter closed with Poole's heart racing, eager for the conversation that would reshape their understanding of the cosmos. Legacy and life. Legacy and life. Frank Poole stood before the vault on Pico, a tablet in his hand that held the fate of humanity. The vault, a monolith of security nestled in the lunar mountain, was the final destination of his long journey. He had come to deposit the tablet, a safeguard against the unpredictable monolith that loomed over mankind's future. "Are you sure this will work?" Indra's voice crackled through the comm link, her tone a mix of concern and hope. "Has to," Frank replied, his gaze fixed on the vault's entrance. "The viruses on this tablet are our last line of defense." Together they had faced the challenges of the fourth millennium, their love a testament to the enduring human spirit. Now, as he prepared to secure the tablet, he thought of their children, Martin and Dawn, and the world they would inherit. Utilizing Hallman's long-range control of matter, a remarkable technology that allowed manipulation of physical objects across vast distances, Frank initiated the transfer of the tablet. This crystalline encased beacon of hope began its silent journey into the vault, a process invisible and undetectable, ensuring its safekeeping. "Goodbye, old friend," he whispered, a silent farewell to the monolith that had changed his life forever. As he walked away, his thoughts drifted to Captain Chandler, whose laughter once filled the halls of the Goliath. The comet explosion that claimed his life was a stark reminder of the risks they all took in the name of exploration. Frank's heart ached, but he found comfort in the memories of their camaraderie. The comm link buzzed again, and this time it was his son Martin. "Dad," "When are you coming home?" the young voice asked, full of anticipation. "Soon, Martin. There's something important I need to do first," Frank replied, his voice softening. "Is it about the monolith?" "Mom says it's a big secret." Martin's curiosity was palpable. Frank chuckled. "Yes, it's about the monolith. But it's more than just a secret. It's a promise of a future where we hold the reins." As Frank contemplated the legacy he would leave, his thoughts were not of the cold vacuum of space, but of the warm embrace of his family. The legacy was not just in the stars, but in the hearts of those who would look up at them, dreaming of what lies beyond. Frank imagined his grandson not yet born as a new chapter in this enduring saga, a fresh canvas on which the story of humanity would continue to be written. He envisioned teaching him about the stars, not just as distant points of light, but as beacons of hope guiding the way for a future where love and wisdom